Hey guys, it's Tahi. We are going to do the first of the videos of the Race to World Last. We're going to start with Mugzee. Please send this to your friends that are currently or are about to start Mugzee to try to help them get cutting edge. But before we start talking about this fight, there's a couple of things that I am assuming about your raid team. One, you have all of the damage buffs from the Undermine raid. The entire raid team has it, the healing and the damage buff. Two, the entire raid team is 680 plus item level, if not 678 plus item level. Both of those should be good enough for you to meet the damage requirements that will be in this video. And then three, the players in your raid team can hit their buttons well enough and do damage well enough for the survival and the DPS requirements that the strategy is going to entail. The DPS requirements really are not that intense about what we're going to go over here in this video, but at least by my raid team standards anymore, but maybe for yours. So if you have a harder time making the DPS check, my recommendations are there's lots of downtime in which there's zero healing happening in this fight, so just healers are fully DPSing and not healing, getting more damage out of your tanks. And then at that point, if it doesn't work for you, then there will be some alternative things that I'll bring up in this video. So this raid plan will be linked in the description of the video. So if you want to use the markers that my raid team uses, there you go. So just going over these markers real quick. The skull is for the second rocket soak. The star and the orange are going to be for the first jails. We are not doing the second set of jails that you would put on dirt side or over here. And these other markers over here on the left-hand side on metal are for the third, which is now the second jails of the fight. So we will go through this raid plan, and then I will give you one of my POVs from my last raid to show you how it's going to look like. So just real quick, going over how this fight's going to look like for your raid team. You'll start metal, take the boss to 97 to 99 energy, swap over to dirt, do the same thing, then go back to metal, repeat, and then we go to dirt the second time. As long as the boss is below 45% health, it will be an easy push to transmission. The jails might show up and act like as if they're going to go out, but as long as you push the boss to 40.0% before the jail cast completely ends, you will push just fine. So please keep that in mind. Mine spawns. It's important that you tell your raid from the get-go that the baiting the mines is incredibly important. What you don't want to have happen is have a ranged DPS standing way out here when the mines are spawning, because the travel time of the mine getting here, and then also your tanks running out to pop the mine, is going to slow everything down. You're trying to pop these mines on a cadence that, like, every 2 seconds, every 1.5 to 2 seconds, a mine is being popped. And then additionally to that, it is imperative that your raid team is watching their feet when these mines are spawning. I would strongly recommend doing something like this. This is a video from Marsh from Consequence that he put out that I thought was very good and a good way to tell your raid team what areas they need to prioritize when soaking mines. So essentially, view this as 4 separate quadrants, with the bottom quadrants being the entrance and the top quadrants being like this door to Gallywix up here. And essentially, you will just spread your raid team around. In my experience, the areas that get the most amount of soaks on the first mine pops will be your bottom 2 squares. And on the second mine pops, which will happen right around here, or here if you want to put it where the second rocket soak goes, will be happening pretty evenly throughout all 4 quadrants. That one is mostly dependent on where you spawn the mines at versus the first one, because you have very little room between the boss and the doorway up here. It just forces most of them to spawn in the bottom 2 quadrants of the square. The other thing that I would definitely tell you to do is for your melee, soaks under the boss are pretty easy to miss. I believe in the video I'm going to show you, I had one that actually showed up underneath the boss, so I can show you what that's going to look like. And then if you are a spec that has a 2-minute personal wall, you should be using it every single time mines spawn and the pops. It will help your survivability, and it will help everyone survive. You will wipe tons of times if you are not telling your raid team to prioritize catching soaks. That is the biggest thing that's going to cause wipes on this outside of individual mistakes. So The last thing I want to touch on within this picture is just what this yellow text says. This is supposed to be the priority for that player for where they're going to be. So if I was on this fight, what this would actually look like is like Tay, and I'd put myself right here, and I'm supposed to prioritize this bottom left square. But if there's a soak that's like right here, doesn't mean I can't go get it, right? So it's just supposed to be a priority thing, not a, hey, you can only soak within this designated area. So rocket placements, the phase 1 and phase 2, sorry, the 2 phase 1 rockets will go at the top of the room where the Galliux doorway is, and then in the center of the room where the skull marker is. And then the only rocket for phase 3 will go in between the blue and the X jails when they spawn. I would not lust on pull. One of the alternative strategies that we'll talk about is a 4 heal strategy, in which most raid teams have to lust on pull to meet the damage check that this strategy is going to do. I don't think that is a good idea unless you are going to do all of the mine pops in phase 3. And we'll get, or sorry, phase 2, and we'll get there when we get there. I would also not pot on pull. This is assuming a 3 heal strategy. Sorry, I meant to say that sooner. Because you should want that pot with lust at 4 minutes with all of your raid team CDs, so that you can get out of phase 2 as soon as possible. So this picture looks like a bunch of crap, but I want to take this step by step. So these mechanics, the Storm Fury finger gun and the double whammy shot, will always go on the metal side of the room. And what that is obviously the big lightning frontal that will break the shields off of these 2 bots, and then this line that gets soaked by the tanks and leaves a bleed on the tanks, and then leaves this circle on the DPS player it was targeted on. Always put those on metal. I think it will help your progression a lot if you make hard rules that certain not certain tank frontals, but certain frontal mechanics like the double whammy shot, the spray and pray, and the Storm Fury finger gun always go to the same side of the room, regardless of what phase you're in, regardless of what part of the fight you're in. It will make your raid team learning where those things go tremendously easier if they just always know the spray and pray, for example, always goes on the dirt side, which is the other one we didn't talk about. Always goes on the dirt side. The spray and pray, putting it on the dirt side makes the most sense to me because it is going to transition you into the last phase, or sorry, not the last phase, but the last part of that side before you have to have everyone step over to dirt in this example. So you'll already have that spray and pray person on the dirt side where they need to be anyways. So it's a movement positive. And then putting the double whammy shot on this side because of the circle to me also makes sense, because you were trying to have this huge area of denier circle that all of your other raid team cannot be inside of, when all the other raid team should already be on the dirt side anyways. So for me, that's kind of like my logic. You don't have to do what I'm saying to do here. This is just something that I would definitely recommend, is making hard rules that the Storm Fury finger gun always goes on this side, double whammy shot always goes on this side, and the spray and pray always goes on this side. The last thing to touch about these is these 3 abilities actually hurt a metric fuck ton. So even in phase 1, they can kill people, especially this circle explosion. So if you have the healers, if you have the paladins in the raid team, whether they're tanks, DPS, healers, doesn't matter, assigning externals to these players is something that I would definitely do to avoid having people die for basically no reason at all. Jail positions, pretty self-explanatory. This is going off using liquid weak auras. I do have a video, and I'll link the timestamp in the description of this video, that talks about how to use liquid reminders. So if you're a raid team that does have liquid reminders, I have a very cool way to show you how to show your raid team what jails are where using liquid reminders. So that'll be timestamped to that part of the video in the description. Okay, so going over the fight, first jails are done. We've already stepped over to the dirt side. The metal side, it's just mine pops, so nothing really special going on there. You want to change this tank frontal, so you get shot this way, and just run it up and down this wall. And the reason you want to do it that way is because if you put your gold soak at the top of the room here, it's going to cause problems for you when you get to phase 2. You're still going to put the rocket soak here, as we talked about before. Your frost boots will bait right next to the fire, like literally be 2 steps from stepping into the fire. So that way all your frost boots the Ice Lances are going to spawn right here. If they spawn out here, it's going to cause problems. So you really want to force your raid team to be right up against the fire, ready to dip in. So if they get frost boots, they can clear instantly, and their Ice Lances are baited in correct spots so that they don't have to weirdly manipulate because they have an Ice Lance strangely out here when it shouldn't be out there. The second metal side is essentially the same thing, do the mines, blah, blah, blah. So now we're skipping to the intermission. You can watch any other guide video to talk about that second metal side. It has not changed. The new thing here is that rocket came down from the second metal side right here. The boss should be roughly right here when you hit 40%. You do have a little bit of time to move him after he's hit 40% and has finished his channel when he starts his intermission cast to put him in this position. And he should charge roughly to here. The biggest thing I want to point out is your ranged and ranged healers should be playing by fire. And the entire time the intermission happens, every time he resets and before he does his next charge and his next, T frontal, whatever you want to call it, is everyone should always reset to be on the fire side of the room. It will make things incredibly easy, and I would strongly recommend finding like 2, 3, 4 VODs of just the intermission to show your raid, to tell them, hey, like, this can lead to a lot of unnecessary deaths. If we can get enough mental reps to learn how to do this intermission and survive it really quickly, it's going to cut down on a lot of pulls and let us kill this boss even faster. The other thing you can do too is as a melee, when I play Enhance on this fight, I will always also reset back to the fire side of the room. So it's not just a range thing. The melee can, and in my opinion, probably should be doing it too. It'll just cut down on deaths tremendously. Same thing, reset back at fire after he's done spinning around. We go right. I would recommend movement speed on this one, especially if movement speed can carry you into the third charge. And again, reset back at the fire. The biggest thing about when he is spinning around that I would recommend is what you don't want to have happen is have like a melee here on his direct back, we'll call it, and then have another melee here. And it doesn't have to be a melee, it can be any player that's right up against as his spin. So like in this scenario, his whatever arm that is, the left or right one, because he's going to spawn those circles that do stuns as this person is coming around, and this person is now in danger of getting stunned. So when you are having this boss spin around in a circle, you want everyone to be hard stacked on the middle of his back and just following his back. You don't want anyone too far ahead. You don't want anyone too far behind. You want to have everyone stacked right on his back. So now we're going into the last phase. We have everyone raid stack on the dirt side, so we can force all of the mine spawns to spawn on this side of the room. We do not pop any mines. Some raid teams doing this exact same strategy will pop a couple of mines just to get a couple out of there and do the soaks. I don't think that's necessary anymore, especially if you have the DPS check. So I would not touch any mines. You still need to root them with whatever shaman or druid or whatever you have to keep them in place. And then you're going to have everyone get next to the middle fire puddle. And you're going to do the same thing that you did up here to start the fight. Be close so you can dip in and then get around so the Ice Lances can shoot through where the bombs are stacked at and freeze them all, which is what's going to happen here. The boss should be moved over here at about this point, and Ice Lance people should be moving around like this so that these Ice Lances can come and freeze the targets. Your shaman or druid, whoever's doing the rooting, is going to have to do probably 3 roots total before these are going to become CC immune and start enraging. So keep that in mind, please. If you have any leftover movement speed for this part of the fight to help your Ice Lance people get over here, it's huge. Additionally, because as soon as they get done rooting, these jails out here are going to start spawning. The odds is what we do the immune rockets on, and the even is the non-immune classes. I'd recommend 6 people for the immunes just to be safe in case someone dies. Obviously, if you have like a druid or someone that doesn't have an immunity get targeted with this first rocket, you still want them to take this second rocket as long as you have a prop paladin to give them spell warding. It'll just make things smoother in my opinion. You'll do these jails. These mines will start to becoming active about the time all of these jails die, so your third and final route will be happening at about this time. I would strongly recommend putting 3 people in every single jail. So what we do, for example, is we try to put 1 monk in every single jail. My raid team consists of anywhere from a maximum of 3 monks, depending on who wants to play monk for this fight on any given week. So, for example, we have 2 Windwalkers and 1 Mistweaver. So I would definitely never put one or more than one in any one jail. So let's say like this far left one gets a monk, left one gets a monk, and the right one gets a monk. Because Touch of Death, finishing these goals off, is incredibly overpowered. So definitely would abuse your Monk's Touch of Death if you have that. Brewmaster, any tank, we always put in the far left one, whichever one is not taking the gold frontal that would be happening right here. And yeah, just hard nuke down these jails. That's about it. The finger gun just gets pointed to the wall because the raid should be over here, and you just don't want to have any unnecessary deaths because you're trying to break a sentry that's by star. That really doesn't matter anymore. At about the time this finger gun happens, these are about to become unCCable and enrage and start sprinting at your raid team. So you need to be very mindful of that. If these do enrage and start sprinting all over the place, it's just kite. Even if it means you're doing 0 damage, the boss should be sub 2%, and it should be a pretty easy kill. So, please just follow these things, and hopefully you can kill this boss in like sub 70 pulls, like 2 or 3 nights. I assume if you're watching this video, you are a raid team that's raiding 6 or less hours a week right now. So, with all of that done, oh, sorry, there's one last thing I actually should touch on real quick. These left and right jails. When you get these first 2 jails, you're going to get these ice lances that follow them up. You do not want to kill these goals super fast. You want to get them to about 30% stop DPS, and then as soon as the ice lances come out, then you can kill them. It will make it so that if you kill these too fast, or even if they start the cast, that's going to break you out of the jail. That knocks you out of the jail. You will become an eligible target to get the Ice Lance, which can potentially put the Ice Lance in a bad position and also put you in a bad position to get rid of your Frost Boots, and it's just bad. So just wait, be patient. You will still meet the GPS check just fine doing it this way. So with all that being done, this is a kill that I recently recorded that we will be able to watch and hopefully walk you through the entire fight. So we're just on pull here. We're just doing damage. Nothing fancy. Hard stack underneath the boss to bait mines here. And those orange circles, we're just watching our feet. Don't accidentally touch one of these guys. It will instantly kill you unless you are a tank or a monk, and maybe a DK can survive, but very few people are going to survive this. So this first rocket is going to be an immune soak. It's tanks included, so we send our mages, havocs, and I believe a rogue into this. This is going to go to the metal side of the room. That is the double whammy shot. He's going to keep his circle out of the raid, and notice it's a DK, and we're still going to make this DPS check just fine. Spray and pray goes onto the dirt side of the room, and my hunters are going to step over at about 97, 98. Good. And if you care from a DPS check perspective, 77% for when we swapped over to the first side. And again, this is no lust, no first pot. These jails, gonna have one go left, one go right. And one thing I want to point out is when you have players in jails and they're unable to get themselves out, the right jail, so our orange marker, this wall right here is the one that you want them to use to get shot out of. And for the left side, it's the same one, but this one right here. The reason for that is you want everyone to use the same wall to get themselves out of the jail, so you have more walls for the ice lances to hit. So this frontal's about to go out. He's going to get shot into the dirt side. And we're going to dip for frost boots. I don't get them here. The way we do it is as we look at the center of the room from the fire, right is right, left is left. So it's the complete opposite of jails. You will need to decide for your raid team how you want that to look like. Everyone survives. The finger gun's going to go out. And then everyone's going to swap the metal here in the next couple seconds. and then 58.5% for this second side swap. Get back underneath the boss for these next mines. And you're just watching your feet here. Watch those little translucent orange circles. This pull was kind of wild. I kind of got pushed off the boss a little bit. This soak goes to the center of the room. And now we're just doing damage. Double whammy shots going on me. I'm going to run out of melee range here really quickly while this circle finishes and blows up on me. And then double whammy, or sorry, spray and pray stays on the dirt side. And you see we are pushing right now to intermission. Now, again, I brought this up earlier. We didn't even have a step over to the dirt side here. So if I back it up 10 seconds, we have both of our hunters, Mind and then Crimini's down here, that haven't even stepped over. So his enrage stacks are actually not going to fall down, but he's not going to get another dot stack. If you have really good DPS like us and you get to this position, I would strongly suggest taking the extra dot stack rather than the extra enrage stacks. The extra enrage stacks are going to make the jails hit harder, so because they won't reset -10 from where he's at right now. So we go into the last phase. Put boss in position for the first charge. And we'll notice how we have all of these ranged playing out by fire. That's where they want to be. We just do damage and we spin. Notice how no one is in front of anyone else. We are just trying to stick together. Now we're going to go right. We lose one player at the boss being at 31%-ish. Okay? And he's going to stay dead for basically the entire fight. And now we're going to go back to fire one more time. I stink. And we just try to stick together here. Now we're all going to stay on this dirt side to bait mines. Just dodge these stun circles. These mines are going to start spawning. If you have to run through this fire to not touch a mine, that's what you should be doing. I'm in charge of rooting, so I put down my root. And now we're hanging out by fire. So these frost boots are going to come out. You clear frost boots, and then you go and freeze a mine. We have jails coming out in 3 seconds. This is a personal from everybody. It has been approximately 2 minutes since the last mine pops occurred, so everyone should have a personal right now. You want to personal those jails because they will hurt a lot. And then we actually get our rocket person stuck in this jail because the skull doesn't die fast enough, but we would normally put it between X and blue marker. Still works out just fine. We had one Shadow Priest in there that obviously couldn't survive, no immunity, so he dies, we battle res, it's all good. And here we are at 5%. I put the last one down. I'm going to get this finger gun right now. I'm going to point it at the wall where no one else in my raid team should be at. And I get stunned, and we die. Boss is dead. That's it. So, I know this video is a bit long. The Gallywix one will probably be a bit long too. A lot of things will be linked in the description of this video. I hope this will help your raid team. Please spread this for awareness, help people get cutting edge. If you have any need for any questions, my Discord will be linked in the description of the video. I also have multiple characters that are 680 plus. So if you are ever in a pinch and need someone to come in and fill in for a night, you are free to ask me. My raid schedule is Monday and Sundays, so obviously those days I am unable to help, but feel free to ask outside of those days. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and I will see you for the next video. Have a good day.